How can you eat that junk?
How can you eat raw fish? Ugh.
Don't even wiggle a toe or I'll turn you into a lead soldier.
And I don't know who you are, mister, but there's been a big mistake here.
The only mistake you made was getting drunk when you should have kept running.
We are not going to allow any more big plays tonight, gentlemen. What are you looking at? You want to be out there in that field so bad?
Yes, sir.
Then show me something!
It's the Al Travis Show. Senator, you need to unmute yourself and turn your camera back on. I've got him, Senator Jeff Howe. Very excited to chat with him. He's still muted. We'll get with him as soon as he unmutes. Lots to discuss today in that I found stuff literally just for Senator Howe to talk about because it's from his neck of the woods. Senator, are you hearing me? There you go. He's back. Senator, how are you?
Great. I was relocating because my internet seems to be a little bit fuzzy.
All right. Glad to have you here. We got stories to talk about. You sent me one that I can't bring up on my phone. We'll talk about that. I had one I found in the news, but we got to start with the 11 rapid-fire question of the day. Senator, if you could have one meal for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh. Holy smokes.
See, the question for the senator would also be, and you are having a heck of a time with your internet, maybe turn the video off, sir. We get better response that way. We've got him, Senator Jeff Howe, who moved. Good time chatting before we got on, but now the show comes on and he's having an issue. Senator, I need you to take the video off. There you go. You with me now? You with me now? There he is. Your thoughts, sir, on what you would eat the rest of your life?
Oh, man. Come on now, ice cream.
Oh, see, that's good. That's a good answer because there's all kinds of flavors. Let me ask you this. You're in the service. Any MREs that you cared that you liked? Meals ready to eat for folks who don't play.
You picked your battles, right? Whichever one was you. Yeah, I mean, there was none that I clamored for. I mean, I never, I had a whole box of them when I came home. I think I finally threw them out because the dates. No, there's not something that they're an emergency thing. You don't go clamoring for an MRE.
I threw a bunch after I got out into a duffel bag, had them in my house forever, and then, like you say, they start going bad. I made each one of my boys try one before we threw them out. Said, you got to taste what this stuff is because you got to have it. Might sustain your life, but it ain't going to make it better. That's for sure. And he just pushed a button wrong. The senator's driving me nuts today. I think he's back. Senator, you're back. You're back. Stop pushing buttons. Yeah, you're muted now. That's what you did. You pushed another button.
I'm telling you what.
There you go.
I am the poster child in the legislature for the requirement and the need for statewide broadband. I'm telling you what, this just, I can't. I'm going to end up with Elon Musk's Starlink here if I can't fix this.
All right, let me ask you one more thing, and then we'll get into stuff. I really want to talk about what you did last night. But in the news this morning was evidently the second weed dispensary, and it was some casino group that opened it up was in St. Cloud. Evidently, you St. Cloudians were lined up around the block to get into that bad boy. Welcome to 2021, right? The 21st century?
Unbelievable, isn't it? There you go. At least now there's a legal place where you could buy it, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah, he passed a law 2 years ago. We're finally getting places open that aren't you guys in their backyard.
So maybe we can cut into that black market, but at a 25% increase, I don't think so.
Well, let me ask you that, and because it's the Indian casinos that are allowed to do it right now, do they pay Minnesota tax on that? Do you get tax there, or is it like the casino? I thought they didn't pay tax. Maybe I'm wrong.
I think that, I don't know where that negotiations fell because that was a negotiated deal. So I think they are, but the thing is you pay 10% sales tax.
Yeah. Tell you what, I have a great story. The casino, he's back again. Jeff, Senator, you're driving me nuts. You're driving me crazy today. You're muted again. The computer flashes, you're muted again.
comes on, I'm automatically
There.
muted. So maybe I should jump on my cell phone. I'm not quite sure. Maybe I got a better chance there. But
Let's do this. I'm going to go to break. I'll give you a call. We'll do this the old-fashioned way. We'll do it on a phone. Fair enough?
well, let's see if I can get it on the internet on the phone, and maybe use the Zoom on the phone. But we'll give
All
that
right.
a shot.
All right, we'll be back right after this with more or less Senator Jeff Howe.
Achieving your financial goals requires individual planning and a comprehensive approach. At Midwest Money Management, our mission is to provide you with the knowledge, tools, and confidence to feel comfortable financially today and secure about tomorrow. Learn more at MidwestMoneyManagement.com. That's MidwestMoneyManagement.com.
Securities offered through JW Cole Financial Inc., member FINRA and SIPC. Advisory services offered through JW Cole Advisors Inc. Midwest Money Management and JW Cole Financial Inc. and JW Cole Advisors Inc. are unaffiliated entities.
You know that car sound that sounds like a cricket playing a banjo? Jay's can fix that. You know when you step on the brakes and your car sounds like a pair of tennis shoes in the dryer? Paul is the guy who specializes in that. And you know that sound that never happens when the mechanic's around? Paul took a whole course on that. If you own a car, you need to know Paul. Paul owns Jay's Auto Shop, 202 North Main Street, Blue Earth, 525-1052, 525-1052.
As in alligator. L also in alligator. But it's not alligator. It's the Al Travis Show.
And we got him back, Senator Jeff Howe with us. Senator, big day yesterday for you. You sent me the video of it. Very cool. It's the Northwoods League, right? We have the Minute Mankato Moondogs. Love that name. And Rochester's got the River Bats. Really love that name. St. Cloud, you got the Rocks. That is is that the worst name ever for a team? I mean, they're playing well, but you get my point. You're a Rock?
Well, keep in mind we used to be the River Bats. We gave that name up and went to the Rocks.
Okay.
The Rocks was, if you go back in tradition, as we were talking earlier, the St. Cloud Rocks used to be what do you call it? A semi-professional ball team in St. Cloud
Oh, did not
where
know that. Okay.
Byerly's used to be. It used to be a big stadium. So this
Oh,
goes back to the St. Cloud Rocks, and we're a granite area, right?
sure.
So
Okay.
so it goes back to a little
That's
bit of
cool.
tradition, and
Okay. That's better.
yep, what a winning baseball team. But I tell you what, so last night they honored the military folks, and
Yep.
and I would happen to be the guy selected for as a retired lieutenant colonel, and so Sherry and I were in the basket, and they fired this
You're
bad
in the
boy up.
basket. You didn't say, what is the basket of? You got to,
The hot air balloon. We got a hot air balloon. We lifted off right behind second base
okay.
of the Rock Stadium, what they call the Rock Pile, and you gotta there was a little bit of, and the winds were variable, and that's not a good thing for a hot air balloon ride because we got to get up and over these the stadium lights and that type
Yeah.
of thing. So they had this thing fired up, and she wanted to take off. Our pilot Jody, she's 70 some years old, but man, she is something else. She's an athlete. She's everything. So they had this thing fired up, and we had all these folks leaning on it to try and hold it from keeping it going up in the air, because they have to almost like, as soon as they let go, it just shot right up in the air. It was quite
How
an
big a
event.
basket? How big a basket? You, your wife, and the pilot, just 3 fit in
That's
there?
it.
There's a lot of extra room? Okay.
Well, not any extra room really, because you got three great big LP tanks in there.
That's a good point. Okay.
And so the basket isn't that huge.
Your first time doing something like that?
First time. So they give you a little ceremony and a certificate of ascension. I'm going to hang it right by my shellback certificate when I cross the equator. Because they make you get on a carpet. They rolled out a little carpet because we landed in somebody's backyard, miles and miles away. We just, hey, can we drop here? I mean, because we were just skimming. It was amazing because we were up there 6,000 feet, and we were just hanging there. We weren't going anywhere, about 2 miles an hour. And so then we dropped down to just skimming. We were skimming the field corn.
Wow.
It's about 4 feet in the air or so, and we were moving 11 miles an hour. So it depends on what level you're at, how fast you're going.
And when she decides it's done, it's because you ran out of LP, or she? I mean, are you?
No, we were just searching for a place to drop.
Okay.
Is what we were looking for, a place to get down, and we just couldn't find there was either cattle there or livestock somewhere in the way, or there was a power line, or
How does the landing go? I mean, is this bottom hits, you guys flip out, hit and roll kind of thing, like
that
airborne?
was the deal. That picture I showed you actually showed you how we came down. It was it was so calm last night. We sat down, just boom, just like sitting on a marshmallow. She just feathered that thing down there like you couldn't believe. So it was
That's cool.
Otherwise we were prepared. When you're moving right along, there are times when you hit hard and it flops over.
Yeah.
And so so it was we just
Fantastic.
sat down. Yeah, it was a fantastic event. Then we had to do all the work of bundling up and dropping the balloon and getting
Did you
all
catch
the air
any
out
of
of
the?
it.
Did you catch any of the game? By the time you
We
get
got
back, was the game going
I
on?
think at the 7th inning we got back and watched. I think we were playing the Minot something or other,
Mm-hmm.
and ended up they scored 3 runs, and I think it got a little close, but then they opened the door. It was a 10-4 game. I tell you what, it's amazing out of that Northwoods League how many folks actually get into the the MLB. So
Yeah, it's their chance, and they take it. And these parents, let them stay at their place. They foster them. It's a cool deal. All right, we got to talk some work, my friend. When the government, when you fund, I'm going to say the AG's office, right? It all comes out of our money. You guys put a fund to it. Are there no strings attached? Here's what I'm asking. I just read that Minnesota is one of 20 states that are suing the Department of Health and Human Services, the U.S. version, because they are going to be sharing with Department of Homeland Security information back and forth, and we're suing to make them stop. Is that something you can regulate? Do you get to go to the AG and say, what are you doing? Why are you wasting money suing something which, as far as I can tell, will only help America be safer? You know, if you're getting Health and Human Services stuff, and we know the Department of Human Service or Homeland Security has you on a list, put two and two together. Doesn't this make sense? What am I missing?
I think you're absolutely right, and that's the problem. And in the last two legislative sessions, I will say that we gave the AG's office more money, more people, and more authority than what they've ever had before. And I think that's a big mistake, giving the executive branch that much flexibility in what they do, and that much money and that much power, because these are the type of things that happen. There was an effort because they also take in outside money, and we were doing work for California and for some other folks. They would go out and look for items that they thought were important and pick up those items, and we'd take staffing and money from outside sources, and I think that's a mistake. I don't think that represents Minnesota, and I think that we need to claw back some of that authority, claw back some of that, make them come to us and ask for that authority to go after something, and then at least have Senate confirmation on those types of items. But they're an elected constitutional office. They do need some flexibility, but
Sure.
I'm a little bit concerned about the path we've taken the last couple of years.
Fair enough. Let me ask you about this. Big, beautiful bill, supposed to be get done today. It might be happening as we're taping the show. We'll find out. Big, beautiful bill gets done. According to the governor and many on his side, this is going to cause huge holes in the budget that y'all just kind of got through here, 3 weeks ago. Depending on the size of that hole, I would imagine. I mean, we have a $3 billion or $4 billion rainy day fund. If this happens to be $1 billion, do you need to come back in a special session and fix this? Can it wait till January when you come back anyway? What are your thoughts on what happens with the big, beautiful bill? Does what the Dems say.
And the thing is they put some stop gaps in place just in case, depending upon what happens. I didn't think that was necessary. I think we should wait until we see what the federal government does. But on the other side of the coin, why are we doing things that are questionable and when we know it's in conflict with some of the federal policy? We set ourselves up for some of this. And, I think the education budget could be in trouble because of some of our policy.
Human Services.
I think Human Services for this big, beautiful bill will definitely be in some trouble. And we're going to have to come back to try to fix that. But I think when they tell me that there's like so many people going to be cut off of food stamps, SNAP to be precise. I've been trying to fix SNAP for at least 10 years. And keep in mind, because in the past I had a millionaire who was helping people apply for SNAP, seniors, the senior linkage program. He was volunteering for that and identified that even he could qualify for SNAP. And so he actually did it. And so what we tried to do was implement a asset test and we started at $29,000. If you had $29,000 in liquid assets, you should probably, if you had more than that, you should probably get rid of some assets instead of the government paying for your food. Well, guess what? I was trying to make a deal. I went all the way to $200,000 of liquid assets and couldn't get the thing passed because they were so fearful that once it gets in, then we'll just reduce that. Well, there is so much fraud going on. The people that need the help, we should be giving the help to. Let's cut some of this fraud out. And if you look at it, if we do make those cuts, it's like 10%. If you tell me that we can't find 10% of the fraud that's going on in the SNAP program and some of the other programs, I think you've got a different kind of, the sky is a different color in your world than mine.
I completely agree, my friend. We are out of time. I appreciate you being on the program. We'll see what happens. I mean, if that big, beautiful bill lands, I don't know how quickly they assess what it'll do to each state, but I presume we've got somebody working on it. We'll find out, and I guess we'll talk about it in a week.
I don't want a special session, but I can smell it coming.
I just want, in just 30 seconds, that's got to happen after a special election then for either the senator from Woodbury or the representative that is passed. The governor's going to have two of those happen before he has a special session, or the Republicans are in charge. He doesn't like that.
Yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a wrinkle for him, isn't it? But they haven't, the Woodbury thing hasn't happened yet, so they can just ask for another delay, right?
Oh, okay. We'll talk about that too. We'll see you next week, my friend. Always appreciate you. He is Senator Jeff Howe on the Al Travis Show.
Braver Angels Minnesota is part of a national movement that brings together conservative